Hi everyone, my name's Caris and welcome to my corner of the internet where I talk about books and other things that I enjoy. So in today's video I'm going to be doing some 5-star predictions, so talking about some books that I think I'm going to love and rate 5 stars. So I've got 5 things that I want to talk about today. I picked 5 because I do want to reflect on these at some point, and because I'm not reading at the quickest pace at the moment, and also because I feel like I'm so bad to stick into any sort of TBR. I'm so passionate about reading books for like a month, and then there are so many other things that I keep finding that I'm also really passionate about, that like my list of things that I want to read and when I want to read them is just uncontrollable at the moment. So for that reason I've only chosen 5, so that hopefully, fingers crossed, sometime in the not too far away future I'll have got around to reading all of these, and then I can report back on whether I actually rated them a 5 stars or not, whether they met my expectations or whether they were a little bit of a disappointment. So the first thing that I've got here that I think I'm really going to love is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Like a lot of people on BookTube at the moment, I'm just loving all things dark academia. I love the vibe, I love the aesthetic, and I feel like this is the core dark academia book that everyone sort of thinks about as being like the #1. At least the people that I watch seem to really rate it very, very highly, and for those reasons I just think that I'm really going to love it. All that I know about this is that it follows a group of students who all go to the same university. I believe it's set in New England in the States, but I could be wrong about that. One day the body of one of the group of students is found, and then I guess the rest of the story is going to be following on from there. We're going to find out exactly what happened, what went down. I don't know too much more about it, but I do kind of want to go into this one with very minimal knowledge. I did read a couple of pages of this when I was on holiday in Cornwall, but I ended up putting it down because the aesthetic just wasn't matching the place where I was right then, because it was still really nice weather at the time. It was very summery. I was spending a lot of time at the beach and, you know, wearing shorts and summery clothes, and this feels to me like the sort of book that I just want to snuggle up with a hot drink, with a candle, basically where we are now. So over the next couple of months I'm really hoping to get round to this one. I do have this copy, as you can see, out from the library. I'm not sure if I'll be able to read it before it needs to be returned, but if not, I will probably end up buying myself a copy of it. I've literally been looking for this book in every single charity shop I've walked past for the past 3 months and haven't been able to find one, and I just know that the moment I crumble and buy it new, I will see it somewhere, which is fine, you know, because I'm still supporting the author and the bookshop by buying it from a bookshop. But it's just one of those things that I know I have seen thousands of times in charity shops before. The second book that I want to talk about briefly is The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. This is the sequel to The Poppy War, which is a book that I read over the summer and gave 5 stars to. I have a full vlog of my reading experience on my channel if you want to go and find out more of my thoughts and feelings about it. I've just heard that this book is even better than the last one, and because I loved the first one, I'm pretty confident that I will also love this one and give it a 5 stars, as I did with The Poppy War itself. From a few people I've heard that Kitai, my favourite character, is more heavily featured in this one. I hope that's a good thing, and that doesn't mean that something terrible is going to happen to him, but more Kitai is always a good thing in my eyes, so I would be very shocked if this gets anything less than a 5 stars from me. Next I have Anne of Green Gables by Ellen Montgomery. This is another one that I'm hoping to get around to in autumn because I've always associated it with this time of year. It always reminds me of October sort of time, even though I've never read it. I know there's the popular quote from this that's something about living in a world where there are Octobers, so maybe that's why I always put the two together in my mind. And that's another reason I think why I think I'm really going to love this book, because as is the case with a lot of people, autumn is my absolute favourite season, and I love anything that just has that ultimate cozy feel to it, and I definitely think this book is going to be giving me the really strong cozy vibes. As I said with The Secret History, it feels like the sort of thing that I just want to snuggle down under a blanket and read, but for very different reasons to that one, because while that is a dark academia with murder and mystery, this is a children's classic. I think it's going to be very wholesome, and I've loved other children's classics that I've read in the past, like A Little Princess, and this edition that I have of it is actually from the same collection. I have an edition of The Little Princess that matches to this, Not that that really means anything, but I just have a feeling that because I've loved other books that are often compared to it, I'm going to love this one as well. And when I've read this, I really want to watch Anne with an E, because I know so many people love that TV show and I've never watched it because I've always been holding out until I've read the book. It's been on my like to watch list on Netflix for literally years now, so I think it's time to get this read and get that watched, and hopefully I will just adore both of them. Next is Who I Was With Her by Neith Tindall. This is a fairly recent release. I don't actually have it. I think I might listen to it on audio because I see that it's on Scribd, and I've been sort of looking for a new audiobook to read now that I finished Cemetery Boys, which was my most recent listen on there. This book follows a girl who has been in, I think, a secret relationship with another girl, and then her girlfriend actually dies, and the only person that she can find that she can really relate to is her girlfriend's ex. And I understand that the main character is bi, or at least, if not the main character, one of the very prominently featured characters. I think it's the main character though, and I think that's really great because I've read very few books that have that representation in it. I haven't actually read much YA, which I would class this as, for a while, but when I read YA very heavily, the books that I always used to give 5 stars to were often books that dealt with sort of darker themes, so anything mental health related, and grief was one of the things that I read quite widely around, and always seemed to really love books that dealt with grief if it was dealt with well. So I know obviously this is a key theme in this book. I'm really excited to read it because of that. I'm really hoping that the topic is handled as well as I think it's going to be. Everything I've heard about it is great, and I really hope it lives up to my expectations. And the final book that I have on my 5-star predictions list for today is Little Eyes by Samantha Schweblin. This is a bit of a rogue choice because I haven't actually heard anyone talk about this book, whereas with the others I've heard loads and loads of positive reviews. However, this caught my eye when I was in the library because the cover just looks really weird and really creepy, at least the cover that I saw, which will be the one that I put on screen. It instantly caught my attention, so I looked at the blurb there and then did a little more research on it when I got home, and I'll just read you the blurb because I think that it will do a better job at explaining it than I can. It says, a visionary novel about the collision of technology and play, horror and humanity from a master of the spine-tingling tale. They've infiltrated homes in Hong Kong, shops in Vancouver, the streets of Senegal, town squares of Oaxaca, schools in Tel Aviv, bedrooms in Ohio. They're following you. They're everywhere now. They're us. In Samantha Schweblin's wildly imaginative new novel Little Eyes, Kentuckys have gone viral across the globe. They're little mechanical stuffed animals that have cameras for eyes, wheels for feet, and are connected to an anonymous global server. Owners of Kentuckys have the eyes of a stranger in their home and a cute squeaking pet following them. Or you can be the Kentucky and voyeuristically spend time in someone else's life, controlling the creature with a few keystrokes. Through Kentuckys, a jaded Croatian hustler stumbles into a massive criminal enterprise and saves a life in Brazil. A lonely woman in Peru becomes fascinated with a young woman and her louche lover in Germany. And a motherless child in Antigua finds a new virtual family and experiences snow for the first time in Norway. These creatures can reveal the beauty of connection between far-flung souls, but they also expose the ugly humanity of our increasingly linked world. Trusting strangers can lead to unexpected love and marvellous adventure, but what happens when the Kentuckys pave the way for unimaginable terror? So when I read that summary, I was instantly like, oh my gosh, that sounds so interesting. It sounds so creepy. It sounds a bit like an episode of Black Mirror. I've only seen one episode of Black Mirror. It is something I want to watch more of because it's always appealed to me, but for some reason I've just never got around to actually sitting down and watching it. But from what I've heard of it, this book sounds like Black Mirror put into a book, and I'm really interested by all the different places that it mentions. The idea of like a flat world and everyone being interlinked because of technology is something that's really interested me ever since I studied that sort of stuff in school. We did a lot of that in geography on the more like human side, and I very nearly did that as my degree instead of doing English. So it's a topic that I'm always keen to read more about, whether it be in fiction or just articles and actual facts. So the sort of combining of that element of the story with this really creepy like Big Brother like element, oh, it sounds so cool, and I'm really hoping that I'm gonna like it. It also was nominated, I think it was on the long list for the International Booker Prize. So the fact that it's sort of been recognised by other people as being really good sort of suggests that it might actually be really good. So I believe it was originally written in Spanish and it's been translated to English by Megan McDowell. So that's another element that is really interesting. I've not really read very much translated literature. I read a little bit for my degree, but outside of that I haven't really delved into much translated fiction. So hopefully this will be a really good start. So those are the 5 books that I wanted to talk about today. As I said, hopefully, fingers crossed, I will be talking about these individually in wrap-ups, and then maybe I'll do a reflecting on my 5-star predictions video as and when I've managed to finish all 5 of them. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books and what rating you gave them and whether you think I would like them. Also, I want to start doing the thing that people do at the end of their videos where they ask people to leave an emoji if they've watched the video, because I am that person who really struggles to know what to comment, and half the time I have watched people's videos, I've liked them, and I just haven't commented because I can't put words together, and I know a lot of people feel the same. So I think leaving an emoji is a really good idea. So if you've watched the video and want to leave a comment, feel free to leave a star emoji. Other than that though, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all keeping safe and staying well, and I will see you again soon for another new video. Bye.